Hi everyone, I'm Sylvana Spence and I'm here with one more STEM Hero series. But we are starting this series in this month of March with Women Change Makers. And the change maker that we're going to be talking to is Sheena Smith. Hi Sheena, how are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm excited to have you here today and to know all the things about you.
Good. I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. It's a very great opportunity to be here. Thank you.
So, what is this STEM field that you have chosen?
So my STEM field is engineering. So it's twofold because my degree and background, most of my career has been engineering, and I recently made a career change and I work in IT now. But to me, they go hand in hand. So I'm going to talk about both.
Awesome. So can you share with us which college did you go to? How did you get there? So kids that are watching this, they know which path they can, choose and what they can do to engage in this career.
Yes. So I'm going to start out with where it all began. So as a young child, I was one of those kids that was I did a little bit of everything. Like I loved building, I loved fixing things and playing with things as a kid. But one of the things I noticed, and that my mom noticed as well, when she would buy me toys like for Christmas, she noticed that I never asked her nor did I read the instructions, but I would look at the picture on the box and I would the toys together. And then when certain things would be broke around the house, like the toaster for one, I don't recommend that as a child to mess with the toaster, but I was the one to fix the broken toaster with no knowledge of what I was doing, just learning as I went. And so one person I admired growing up was my grandfather. He was an electrician and he was also like a contractor. So he built my childhood church and a portion of my childhood home. And so looking up to him, I knew that I wanted to be a person that designed or build or maintain things. And so I knew that the field that I wanted to go into was engineering. So in grade school, I went to a magnet school that was focused on engineering and technology. So that kind of helped me to get the skills that I needed early on in 9th through 12th grade. And then after graduating from high school, I went to Georgia Tech, but I did it a little different because at the time, after my grandfather had unfortunately passed, I was staying with my grandmother. And so I said, okay, Georgia Tech's in Atlanta. I live in Savannah. How do we have a happy medium? So I was actually a distance learning student for a while where I got to go to Savannah State University, but also be a Georgia Tech student it's pretty much a remote student. Mm-hmm. I did that for a few years, and then I made a shift in the focus of engineering I was in. I started off as electrical, and I did some internships in that field, and I decided I like it, but it's not exactly what I want to do. So I ended up doing industrial and systems engineering through Georgia Tech, and I transferred to the main campus and finished my degree there, which was a great idea because I got the best of both worlds. I got to go to an HBCU, but I also got to go to a top engineering school and just get the well-rounded experience doing it that way.
That is pretty awesome. That is pretty interesting because, as you said, you got to experience both worlds, right? And that probably enriched a lot your career, right?
Yes, that's true.
So what challenges did you face? Because you said that you had to do it some online, and online requires a whole lot of discipline. I tried some online classes. There's nobody reminding you of anything.
Yes, it definitely took a lot of discipline, and there was only a few of us that starting out that was doing the program that way. I think it was only 5 of us, and there was only 2 of us that were women. And so, and that group dwindled. With it just being 5, that group dwindled very quickly. So it took a lot of discipline. It took going the extra mile, extra study sessions, staying up late. There were some nights that we wouldn't finish homework till 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, because sometimes that's just what it took to stay on top of things. And being a remote student at the time, there were times where we had a time frame to get something done, and you didn't necessarily have someone saying, "Oh, get this done now," or you're going to this scheduled class and they're making sure you get your work done, like in, say, high school. And so you had to have that discipline to say, okay, this is my degree, this is the career I want to be in. I'm going to stay focused, I'm going to stay disciplined, I'm going to be diligent and keep at it and get it done. So it was difficult starting out doing it that way, but I think it was a great experience for me, because even in work, I work remotely sometimes, and sometimes there's things you have to do things a little different to make sure you're still seen, that they still know you're there, that you're still getting your work done. So really that experience helped me in my now career, but I also appreciated going in the classroom and being there amongst my peers and getting to know individuals. It was different than when I was a remote student and they would see you on the back of the class on the TV screen, but you actually got to meet those individuals being on campus.
So you would say that both for school before you started your career and now during your career time, they're both the same similar challenges that you had to face and make sure that you had the discipline on point to carry on.
Exactly. Like I have coworkers and they know that I'm a remote employee, even though I travel there often. My job is based in New Jersey. And I have some coworkers that will make jokes and say, "Sheena, why are you wearing pearls and a blazer?" and I noticed that my manager noticed. My manager said to the other coworker, "Oh, that's her standard." And I didn't know she noticed that. She said she's the best remote employee ever, because most people are like, "Well, where are the pajamas? Where are this?" Well, I like to dress like where I want to be. So I'm always going to be professional. I'm always going to dress for success. And I also want to have that image that people know. I didn't even know my manager noticed that, but she noticed, oh, she's remote, but she dressed as if she's in the office.
You dress the part. Exactly. Like, what if I have to just get up and go to the office? I'm not going to waste any time. You dress, you're ready, right?
Right.
You don't get ready, you stay ready.
You have to stay ready. So you have to get ready. And it gives you that mindset to always keep your head in the game. I think when you're dressed, when you're already dressed, like if I have a presentation, I'm going to put on the suit jacket. I'm ready. I'm there. I'm presenting as if I'm right there in the room with everyone else. And
definitely you earn their respect, because the people see the way you present yourself, your work ethics. That is a huge thing, right? And this is something so important for us to pass on to the young, to the youth, so they can see how important it is to keep that discipline, to have that work ethic, since school, and carry that on through your workplace, so you can be successful, right? Because it requires discipline for you to move on, right? So with all these changes and these adjustments that you had to make, what advices would you give to people and to women that want to get into this STEM field? Because we know that there are very few. It's increasing a little bit, but it's still a small percentage, about like 14% of women in this STEM, especially Black women in the STEM field, right? So how could we motivate more women, more girls to join this field?
I think one, from an advice standpoint, is to never stop learning. Never stop learning. We live in an ever-changing world. Technology is changing every day. The world is changing every day. So it's always good for us to learn what we can. For me, it's not always just stuff that's exactly in my field, but I'm always learning what I can, because I never know what I may encounter. It's just like going from engineering to now working in IT. My career in engineering set me up for my career now in IT. And what should have taken me years to get to where I am now starting out in IT, because of the experience I had, I was able, I would say, skip levels, as someone would say, to be a manager within IT and never have the experience. But the experience that I had got me there. I would say, if there's a way for someone to get the experience early on, internships I would highly recommend, because it's a way for the youth to learn about something before they actually jump into it. And for me, when I was younger, I did several internships. With top Fortune 500, Fortune 50 companies, and it gave me that experience that I needed, one, for my now career, but it also let me know what I didn't want to do. So there were some internships I went to, and I said, oh, some of these individuals they look bored, and I don't like being bored. Some of them are sitting at their desks all day, and I want to move around. I want to do stuff. I want to have my hands in it and build and design. And it helped me to get that. Doing those internships helped me to get the experience that I needed beforehand to understand what I really wanted to do. And that kind of takes out the trial and error, or going down a path and then realizing that you're not passionate about it and that you don't really love it. That helps you get everything up front. So I would say intern, as well as join organizations that can give you that experience or expose you to that experience. I was in a couple of different organizations, even in college. And just like we talked about dressing professionally, I was even in an organization called Sisters Striving for Success. And it taught us etiquette. It taught us how to dress professionally. It was just the things of starting out, presentation skills, those things, because all of that goes together. It's like a big puzzle, pieces to the puzzle. So I would say that's another big thing to do, and get a mentor. See something that you're interested in, talk to people, shadow them. There's even within my job now, there's positions where I work in healthcare industry now, whereas I worked in before, but there's a position where they'll allow you to shadow doctors to see the work that you do in IT, like where that work goes. It helps you to see like how you're making an impact, in patients' lives or the everyday life. So if there's someone that you can shadow or someone that can mentor you and show you what they do, I think that is a big thing. Because I think seeing is believing. If you can see someone else doing it, you can see yourself doing it. And it lets you know that the sky is the limit.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing all these gems with us. We really appreciate that. And I believe that parents and kids that will be watching this video will really appreciate all the gems that you have dropped over here with us. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure. So everyone, make sure that you stay tuned. I'm going to drop a snippet on Instagram, and you can watch the full video on YouTube in Bella the Scientist. Thanks everyone. See you next time.